Hello there and welcome to another Animal Keeper experience. My name's Keeper Mark and behind the camera we have Keeper James, and what we're going to be doing today is basically we're going to fly Inca off somewhere. We're doing an emergency escape drill. So we do an escape drill every so often. We basically pretend an animal's escaped. We can make it a lot more lifelike with the owls because we can easily just call them back straight away, whereas we never really risk just releasing a raccoon or releasing our skunks or anything like that. So like I say, we're going to be doing it with Inca today. I'm going to be taking Inca off somewhere, so I'm going to hide Inca. We have our sort of little telemetry right here. So this is basically what James is going to be tracking. So what we simply do is slot the toggle into the anklets, and you can see that fits in nicely for Inca. Barely weighs anything, doesn't really hinder the owls when they're flying at all, and it's a great way we can just keep track of them. So for example, if we accidentally lost an owl during a show or just one of our normal flying times, we can simply get the telemetry device out and we can track the owl. So I'll go off somewhere.
Goodbye, Mark. Right, we'll turn away,
Don't cheat.
for dramatic effect. So obviously when we do these drills, we're not just your cat is called Inca, Karen, that's cool. Inca's a fantastic name, but people often get confused whether our little Inca's a boy or a girl. But yeah, when we're doing these drills with the owls, it's a lot sort of less extreme than it would be a mammal. If a mammal gets out, because obviously besides when they're doing either harness training or stuff like that, they're not going to be coming out that often. So if they did, in an unfortunate circumstance, get out, there's a whole new world for them to sort of explore. So their behaviour can be quite erratic because they can get very excited, they can get very scared. Whereas an owl, especially our ones, right, Mark's disappeared somewhere, I'll turn around if he wants to. So with the owls, we're out here anyway, on this flying field or in our show barn, and all our birds were trackers. So if one did get out, we know roughly how it's going to behave, but still, quite a few places actually that you go to, like solely bird of prey centres, they won't bother putting telemetry on their owls. Now, we're not saying that's a bad thing, they're not putting telemetry on these birds. In the case of most owls, they're going to be imprints, so they're going to be raised by the people they work with. As a result, they're very comfortable in those situations. So the chances of them flying off are very small. There is still a chance, but in the case of most owl species, they're not going to go too far. But given the sort of stressful environment that this can be at times, when there's hundreds of you, oh, that's very loud, when there's hundreds of you guys moving about, what are they doing? Hundreds of you guys around, all having fun, making lots of noise, that can be quite distressing for the birds. Eric Knight, if you lose any bird or animal, do you notify any authorities and the public? If we lose a bird, we try to be quite, not secretive, we don't really want to alarm people. We'll tell you guys if we think there's a possibility you could come to harm. Obviously we won't let you in that area, but overall we don't have to notify too many people unless it is a species like a raccoon, wallaby or coati. Those animals are incredibly invasive, and as a result, if one gets out, we can be in a lot of trouble. Those animals are actually, in fact, apart from wallabies, so invasive that after this sort of last generation goes, they'll no longer be kept in sort of UK collections because of the sort of threat they pose. Now, I should probably get on with what's going on. So the silver thing we were showing off earlier that's actually on the bird, that is the transmitter. I have here the receiver. So this weird little gun thing basically picks up the signal being given off from that. Now, this is quite hard to do one-handed, so please bear with me. But there we go. So when it's all extended, sorry, it's quite hard to get my arm length so you can see it all. And this is our lovely little tracking system. It's a Marshall device. Absolutely adore Marshall. And what we will simply do is we'll turn it on slightly. So that beeping is Mark and Inca, wherever they got off to. So what you will do now is, per se, we've lost this bird. Haven't seen where he's gone or anything. We will get this out, we'll stick it up like this, and we'll give it a quick little spin round. And because it's quite loud, what I'll do is I will turn it down slightly, And then we'll continue spinning. And then we wait for it to get louder. So it's getting louder in that direction there. So I'm going to head over there. Now this thing does have a couple of different settings. So as I walk, I'll talk to you about them. So you can see the range and the filter. So the filter is essentially how much, well, the width really, how much in this direction it picks up. Now some of these receivers work a bit weird. They do a sort of almost like bombshell effect with their signal. So holding it sideways actually sometimes helps. But what we will do is when we're looking for these birds is I've got a very strong signal in this direction. So I'm going to head over here a bit. And then once I've gone a little distance, I'll turn it back on, do a quick little nav spin round, and that will hopefully give me a good indication. The only problem here with telemetry we have is that occasionally the sort of big built up metallic buildings can bounce signals, which makes life quite interesting, but luckily we're quite used to it now. You can see that's a very strong signal, so I'm going to turn it down to near, see if we get anything. We're getting a very faint one. And then, well, you can't hear, in this direction it basically goes. And then it starts picking up again over there with the strongest signal being about here. You have this little sort of dial as well, which if I turn it up, oh, too loud, you can see it's pinging. So that is a sign. It's basically, if you're struggling to hear, the visual can help as well. I will say the reason it's doing that double blip actually means that it's low on battery, but you don't need to fear. Low on battery for this thing means it's only got 24 hours left. The batteries in these actually last around, ours is actually quite an old model because of our birds. We don't feel the need for it that much compared to something like an eagle or a falcon that has the capacity to fly very far away. So I think the battery life is about 3 days, and we replace the batteries at least once a month. You have to remember that when we're flying these birds, we're not going for much longer than about half hour, 40 minutes at a time. So it does keep its charge for a very long while. Eric Knight's asked, can the signal be affected by other electronic equipment like phone masts? This is one that's heavily debated. Some people, like myself, in times where I've been unable to find a bird, I have most definitely blamed it on phone masts and things like that, but some people say they have absolutely no effects. They work on a different frequency, but I don't know enough about radio signals to tell you about that. So yet again, doing that little spin round, getting the strongest signal in there. So I think Mark's taking the poor little Inca to the Drone's Castle, which is something I don't think he's really done before. Something really cool that's going on with telemetry at the moment. Two main companies, I'm not going to I've name dropped Marshall already, but then another. They are actually producing GPS telemetry, which is awesome, which connects directly to your phone, and it lets you see on Google Maps or on their version of it exactly how, sort of, where the bird is, how high it is, how fast it's travelling, its average speed, its average sort of climb rate, stuff like that. So it's really cool. And Hayley asking, my daughter Freya would like to know, is Inca a boy or a girl? He is a boy. He's a little boy striped owl, Peruvian striped owl, and he's a very pretty boy, so hopefully I'll be able to find him and get a good little look at him. So this is where things get interesting, because I'm getting a signal sort of all around me, but the main one is still sort of pointing towards the main building. Obviously, these are birds. Birds can fly. So we'll have a quick look in here. Make sure Mark hasn't given him to the dragon. But because birds can fly, if they get scared, they're going to go high. It's where they're going to feel safer. So it is quite important to keep looking up. Now, I suppose I better go up here and have a look. There's a good chance Mark's popped him down somewhere and flown him up high. But this is quite scary because I actually don't have a spare hand, because I've got the phone in one and telemetry in the other. And as I'm sure Mark thinks he's being very clever, I can't use telemetry inside because it struggles with walls. And also, in my defence, I don't get to play around on this stuff much. As a result, I don't actually know how to get my way around. Ooh, this is a bit scary, because everything I'm holding is quite valuable. So I really don't want to drop anything. Oh. Right, so do another quick little spin round, because in the case of a bird escaping, it is more than possible that that bird's going to be moving. There you go, strong signal still coming from that way. Let's make sure it's not coming from anywhere else. So no. Oh, hello there, buddy. So we have a little Inca up there. So you can see when I'm pointing that at him, that's much, much louder. So that's on near, that's on narrow. And what you would do is, if you're struggling to find a bird and you're that sort of close, oh, hello jackdaw. The best thing to do is turn down the volume. And then you can very easily listen to the differences. Do you want to show yourself, Mark? To show that you haven't just abandoned the bird up there. There he is.
Oh, look, I found him.
So what we do normally is, if a bird gets out, we'll go out in a team of two, sometimes three, depending on how many people we've got in. We'll have one person with the receiver, one person with a glove, like Mark's got up there, and then we'd sort of go about business like that. Oh, Joe and Margaret, if someone else had a telemetry, could they help find a bird, or would two clash? No. So you get different types of receivers that operate on different frequencies. So you get this one, which is a 173, I think. And if someone else had a 173 receiver, they'd be able to pick up the signal, which is actually what I have. So in dire times, I can bring my own telemetry in and get him here. Inca doesn't like your castle, Mark. Right, I think Mark's going to head down, and then we will say ta-ra. I've got to figure out how's the best way to get down for me now. Are you going to leave him up there and try and fly him down? Oh, he's gone. Now, to be honest, this has been a bit of a double-edged sword doing this. It's given us the chance to, there he goes, given us the chance to sort of show off this little side of things. And if you guys want to see us doing more sort of escape drill based stuff, because I'm sure Mark would like to pretend to be an escaped meerkat one day, please do let us know. But it's also giving us a chance to fly Inca somewhere new, which is exciting for him. He's very keen. So as you can see, he's rather enjoying himself. But I think that's going to be it for myself, Mark and Inca. Please do tune in later at 3 o'clock. For myself and Mark, we will be with the isolation station. And I do believe we are doing goats, which is one of Mark's favourites, so it should be good. Oh, quickly. Eric Knight, how would you start to look for a lost animal, skunk or other? Well, it's the same sort of principle as we do with the birds. We look for wildlife. The biggest help when trying to find a bird is actually normally jackdaws or crows. Sometimes blackbirds. They absolutely hate them, so they'll be making a ruckus. And the same goes for the mammals. If they get out, birds aren't going to be happy, especially with some of the species that can climb, like the coatis and the raccoon. But that is it from myself and Mark, giving you a little insight into what would happen if we lost a bird. As you can see, this is the sort of ideal situation. Found him in about 10 minutes. But normally we'd be doing this in sort of heavy woodland and stuff like that. But from myself, I will say goodbye. And do please join us later for the goats. And I'll let Mark say goodbye to you now. Oh,
Just remember, we got a birthday shout out at 2:30.
of course.
So if you do have a birthday today, feel free to post it on the comment section. And obviously give us a like on Facebook. If you have friends that don't have us on Facebook, then send an invite to them. Share our videos, we much appreciate it. We're trying to get up to about 25,000 likes on Facebook. And also if you take part in our competition, that'll be on our Facebook page. You can get a chance of winning a family annual pass ticket. So that's definitely something that you want to try and grab. the rest of your day, and we'll see you soon.